Hi, everybody. Dan Illman and Mike Beer, the DRF race of the day for Friday, April the 10th, race number 9 at Oaklawn Park. It is a really nice optional claiming race at 6 furlongs. Before we get started with the analysis, I want to remind everybody, try those new DRF mobile PPs. You can view DRF PPs anywhere, anytime with true mobile access and the exclusive lifetime buyer speed figure graph. Try them today, drf.com/MPPS. Let's meet the field for the Friday race of the day. Remember, you can download free formulator past performances for this race on the race of the day event page at drf.com. Access them, handicap along with us. Mike, I thought this was a very, very competitive group. And also from the first go round, there seems to be a good amount of speed in this race.
Yeah, that's what I thought too, Dan. I really did think that there was going to be a good pace going on in here. It sort of led me to look for horses who could run from off the pace in this race. But I think you're right. There are a lot of different horses who I think could win here.
Timeform US believes that the pace should be swift, as we see from their pace projector and its red bar scenario. The 8 Hilton Magic, that horse is a one-way speed, returning off a September layoff. The 8 horse should be fresh, absolutely 8 in the 3, Candy Cornell the 4, Malpai the 5. These horses all have speed, and it could set things up for a closer. The number 1 is Kauai, and this is an Iowa bred who's a multiple stakes winner against state bred competition. Now, I guess, Mike, you could say he had excuses for his last race, layoff, sloppy track. My concern is he's 62-1 against comparable competition, and he just couldn't hang with those horses.
Yeah, I mean, I can certainly understand giving him a pass for that one if you were inclined to do so. They didn't get very aggressive with him in that race. They just let him get filtered out to the back, and he never really made any kind of an impact in there. I think you have to be concerned that he's just in too tough in a race like this. But I can understand also, just sort of giving him a pass for that last one and want to give him one more chance.
Nifty certainly has speed figures that are competitive with these. A 90 buyer win at Churchill Downs 3 starts back, and his last race was pretty good off of a lengthy layoff. We'll take a look at the stretch run here. Nifty swings widest into the lane, and he tries to lug in a little bit, and he has to be straightened out and get back to the far outside, and then he comes with another run to only be beaten a length. I did not think much of this field. He doesn't have speed, though, and that might actually work out in a field like this.
I do think he's facing a tougher group here, but, considering this was his first start since last June, and it was over a sloppy track, yeah, I didn't think he ran poorly at all, Dan. And, going back to his form last year as a 3-year-old, you know what? I thought he looked pretty good, and he was getting better with every race that he ran. I think he's a super dangerous horse in here.
The 3 is Absolutely Aiden, and I liked Absolutely Aiden's first start off the West Hawley claim at Churchill Downs. He took pressure every step of the way while down towards the inside, and he was able to draw off to a comfortable win. Unfortunately for Absolutely Aiden, he has not done much in his last 2 races. He was on the lead, and he tired against similar horses, and considering the pace situation here, it might be a long afternoon if they go fast early.
I was worried about the pace situation for him, too. The win 3 back off the claim was fine. I didn't, listen, he did have pressure on the lead. I just didn't think they were going that hard early. And then he actually won that race pretty easily. His last 2 races are more concerning, especially the last one, Dan. I mean, that was a pretty good field, but he was just really no match when those horses came to challenge him. And I don't think this is necessarily an easier spot.
Candy Cornell went into his last race 1 for 16. He's now 2 for 17. Let's watch that performance. Non-winners of 1 other than allowance. He was able to sit just off of the lead. He angled 3 wide turning into the stretch, and he wins comfortably. My concern with him is we were handicapping him when he was entered right back on March the 26th. He was a vet scratch. He shows no published work since then. You're getting 5-2 on a horse that likes to be relatively close to the pace coming off a vet scratch that doesn't like to win races.
Yeah, all those things concern me too. And listen, I appreciate the fact that it feels like he's sort of slowly getting better for Diodoro. I just didn't really trust him. He's the morning line favorite in here. I don't see any way he's not, one of the favorites in this race, if not the favorite at post time. He's going to be a short price, and I just felt like there were much more interesting horses to try in this race.
I think you look at the number 5, Malpai, one of 2 ways. One is that he needed his first 2 races off of the long layoff. He had been away for a long time. They ran him in a stakes race at Sam Houston where he was out sprinted for the lead, never made an impact. And last time out on the turf Well, that's probably not his game. So now he drops third off the layoff and is a new gelding. There are angles in his favor. I also could see the point of view that he can't run anymore. The fact that they tried him on the turf last time out is a negative, and now they're dropping him because they think he's just about done.
Yeah, I guess it would be a little concerning that they're offering him up for 50. He was actually a pretty good 3-year-old. He ran some really nice races as a 3-year sprinter, and his campaign was over in mid-May. So, I mean, I think you had to look at him and feel like he was, he deserved a chance to really improve this year. I don't know, Dan, if I'm being honest, I thought his first race off the layoff, he didn't run great in there, but I didn't think he ran terrible either. The horse that won that race is pretty good. And this horse only got tired very late in that race. I don't know. I don't care about the turf race last time. I think he's going to run a lot better on this race.
Yeah, I kind of take that stance as well, especially if he goes off anywhere near his morning line, 20-1. We know he has back races. There and back, the number 6 is the horse with all of the upside in the world. He just scored at the fairgrounds last time out by a scant nose with a 79 Beyer speed figure, but he ran a Beyer in the mid-80s in his second lifetime start at Santa Anita with Bob Baffert. I like his tactical speed. I like his stalking post position. I think a good trip is coming. He might need a slight Beyer move forward.
Yeah, listen, I respect that he's finally putting races together. Only got one start in as a 3-year-old, only got one start in as a 4-year-old, and now he's making his third start in a row here since they've got him started back. He's 5 years old. I don't know how much better he can actually get, Dan. And if I'm being honest, I don't love his win last time. He was fine in there, but I think if he just runs that race back, he's probably not going to be a factor in here. I had a tough time liking this horse.
The number 7, Petrov, has a lot of back class. He was second in the Grade 3 Southwest as a 3-year-old back in 2017. He's bounced around the stakes ranks, the optional claiming ranks. Last time out, it was a muddy track and it was 2 turns. 2 turns is not what Petrov wants. He is basically a one-run sprinter. That style should work very well in a race like this, but I think you have to wonder if he's lost a little zip off the fastball.
Yeah, his recent form is very concerning. He hasn't really been competitive since last June. And it's just, it's hard to make excuses for all of those races. On the other hand, he's turning back for this race. He's a big price on the morning line. And you know that if he somehow finds a way to get back to one of his good races, he's going to be a handful in this race. I can't love him, but I've got to use him if he's going to be around, that morning line price. I expect he'll come down from that, Dan, but how much can he come down? I'm going to use this horse.
The speedy number 8 is Hilton Magic, a horse that has not been seen since September the 28th. Perhaps he is the speed of the speed. We'll go back to his most recent dirt outing against fellow Iowa-bred stakes horses in the Dan Johnson Sprint, and as usual, he showed big speed. They went a half mile in 43-1. He's got a clear lead in the stretch. He falters from his early efforts, 83 Beyer. This is a horse that has capable of running Beyer speed figures in the mid-90s if he shakes loose. And at 12-1 on the morning line, perhaps you can take the stance that he's just faster than the other speed horses.
Yeah, I wouldn't argue with anybody who's looking at him that way. We'll see what happens. He obviously has races that can win. I mean, all 5 of his career wins basically were when he was able to shake loose, and then he just never gave those fields a chance to get into it. I think it's going to be tough for him to do that against this field, but we'll see.
The well-bred Principe Guilherme began his career with a lot of fanfare after he won his first 2 starts, including his second race with a 91 Beyer. That race made him the favorite in the Lecomte as a 3-year-old, and he ran a pretty decent second. It didn't pan out for Principe Guilherme after that, but I think he has found his niche now as a one-run sprinter. Let's go back to his most recent race for the $50,000 tag, and he came with a good, strong late run to beat 2 next-out winners, and the runner-up validated this performance, winning for a $40,000 claiming race with a 90 Beyer speed figure. He has the right running style for this race, Mike, claimed by 30% trainer Chris Richard.
Yeah, he really does. He's actually gotten back in good form off that. The most recent layoff was a short one, but he's gotten back in good form. That win that we just saw right there, I thought he ran really well. The race prior to that, which was against a better field, he ran an excellent third that day, having to come through some traffic and only got clear very late in that race. This horse is in good form right now for a very sharp trainer.
The number 10 is Extirpator, and this is 20-1 shot, who the last time he ran a one-turn race, it was way back in August at Louisiana Downs. He won that day from slightly off of the pace. So maybe the pace scenario will work for him. Maybe the turn back in distance will work for him. The question is he good enough? He is facing a bunch of horses capable of running 90 buyers, and after 17 starts, his best figure is an 86 on a wet track.
I thought this was a tough spot for a horse like him, but he's going to be a big price in this race, so I'm not going to knock him.
A little bit of a layoff here for the number 11, Drop of Golden Sun, another horse cutting back in distance. The last time he sprinted on fast going, he was second in a Minnesota bred stakes race with an 83 buyer. He's going to need a little bit of a buyer boost against these horses, especially off the layoff.
Yeah, the layoff, he's going to have to run the race of his life to beat this field. And he's also one of those horses, I think, when you start picking through his form, he really does want to be more forward in his races. So the pace of this race may work against him as well.
Big step up in class for the 12, Two-Bit Kid, who is in very, very good form right now. He won at Mahoning Valley. Then he won around 2 turns in a sprint race at Charlestown. The buyers are going the right way. This is a horse in career best form again. Another horse that probably is going to be sitting back off of a contested pace. I think he has to prove himself over this circuit against this caliber of horses, though. And I think 6-1 is just a little bit light.
Yeah, I was surprised that he was that short a price on the line because he does look like he's in a very tough spot here. He's won 4 of his last 7 on dirt. I'm not going to knock his form heading into this race. He's obviously in good form right now, Dan. I just wonder, is he going to be able to improve enough to beat this field? And then what price is he going to be? Because if he's around 6-1, he's a terrible underlay.
And there was his victory at Charlestown, a pretty solid performance for Two-Bit Kid. Let's take a look at our top picks for the Friday race of the day. Remember, you can access those free Formulator past performances on the race of the day event page, DRF.com. Mike, you like Principe Guilherme. In good form, claimed by a sharp horseman, gets the right pace setup, little bit of back class, certainly fast enough to win this race. You take 4-1.
Yeah, I think all those things could lead you to this horse for sure. I think that's a very fair price on him. Listen, like I said at the beginning, Dan, I wanted the closers in this race, the 9 and the 2. I was sort of torn between the 2 of them, and I think they're both going to run well in here.
I just take a stab with the 5, Malpai, third off the layoff, dropping in class, turf to dirt. A lot of angles here. I wish he had a different running style. Because as of right now, it appears he is a need-the-lead type in a race where he probably isn't fast enough to get the lead. But if he's close to that 20-1, I'm willing to trust Joe Sharp third off the layoff. He has enough back class. The price is right. 5-4-3-2 for me, 9-2-4-7 for Mike. The Friday race of the day is at Oaklawn Park. It's race number 9. Approximate post time 5:09 Central. Best of luck.